Happiness is freedom. Freedom is having the choice to spend your time doing things that inspire you. Most people want freedom, but many people don't have a clear objective, a roadmap, or a strategy to achieve it. Everyone deserves to live an inspired and free life. I believe that when we're free and able to focus on our most meaningful work, we simply become better human beings. We can give more, care more, support more, and love more. I'm an investor, a trader, and an entrepreneur, and I get to spend every day doing what I love. At the age of 29 years old, I became financially free, and since then my mission has been to help and inspire other people to achieve the same so that they can be more of who they really want to be. Always Free is about having a free mind, being free to question the status quo, free to take risks, free to say no, free to say yes, free from social idealisms, opinions and beliefs, free to disobey, and free to wake up every day and spend your time to make a difference that inspires you. You can have it all. Living a life designed by you isn't a stroke of luck or a result of circumstance. It's a choice. So if you want to learn how to become free and live an inspired life, join me for the #1 show for financial empowerment and wealth creation as I share my insights, tips, strategies and advice on what allowed me to be always free. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Jason Greystone. Well, welcome to the Always Free show. If this is the first time you're listening, this is the #1 show for financial empowerment and wealth creation. And if you're not the first time here, then welcome back. Hope you had a nice week. How's everyone been? I have been running the show slightly differently over the last 3 or 4 weeks or so. And hopefully you guys have been getting value from those types of interview kind of style shows. I thought that would provide a lot of value. I also thought that, it'd make a change from hearing my annoying mid-tone nasally voice. But it seems like from the comments that you've all got value from that as well. So if this is the first time you're listening, definitely go back, check out the other episodes, and also check out the Always Free podcast, which is where this show span off from. So who have we got here then? Hope you're all well. Man, that's a little bit far away for me to see tonight. If my eyesight's going away. What? Who we got? Cool. Hello. Hope you're doing well. Anyway, the reason I wanted to run the show is because we had a lot of comments and questions come up about my posts that I've been putting out on social media regarding schooling. And this is something that when I put out my podcast, episode 13, about pulling my eldest son out of school, that is still today the most downloaded podcast episode on the whole of the Always Free series. Out of 135 episodes or so, that is the most highly downloaded one, which is crazy, right? So it shows that there's a lot of people interested in that kind of thing. A lot of people agreeing or are curious or want to know a little bit more about, that process, because I get a lot of questions saying, well, how is it? How did you get support and how are you finding the homeschooling? Because it's like they really want an update on how that thing's going because they believe in it too. They've thought about it too. And this week I've been putting out some posts about, why I believe school's a bit of a waste of time and, all the rest of it. So been getting a lot of messages off the back of that. So what I thought I'd do is talk about that for a little bit. Because it's obviously something that you guys are really, really interested in. Before I get stuck into it, one of the, as I mentioned, one of the questions that comes up quite a lot is, well, how do you find maths? How do you do the science? Do you get support? How are you finding it? How do you cope with teaching them the stuff or replacing school? I don't replace school. I'm not teaching them the stuff that they learn at school. That's the reason I pulled them out of school. It's not. I'm not having to teach them maths and science and English and all that kind of stuff because I don't want to teach them stuff that they didn't want to learn or didn't find inspiring in the area that they do find inspiring. So it's not going to be useful to them. If you're going to be a creative artist, chances are Pythagoras is not going to be useful to you in your field, let's say, right? And I'm a trader of the financial markets, and a lot of the maths that I learned at school isn't applicable to me either. But anyway, I took them out because I didn't want to fill their brains with lots of fluff, right? So one of the posts that I put out was about filling your head with fluff, and how you spend 6.5 hours in a school and they're basically filling your mind with general knowledge, and nothing's isolated knowledge, nothing's isolated focus. And we all know that when we put our minds to something and we isolate the focus and we isolate knowledge and we read a book, we'll learn a lot more from that one book than we would just spending time taking in a load of general information about lots of different topics and subjects, right? This is the way it is. So imagine if you could spend 6.5 more hours per day just doing something that you enjoy and you don't need motivation to do. Because this is where we're going with this, right? It's from teachers who have kids who don't like school or are not getting on well in school. It's not from people who have kids who love school. That great. If your kids love school and you're at school, perfect, great, amazing. No need to pull them out. And if they wake up, maybe they just love school and they love being around their friends and all the rest of it. Maybe they wake up every day dreaming of being an accountant, lawyer, doctor, and all the rest of it. Then great, yeah, you absolutely need school for that, and you're going to need to help them find their work ethic at school, because that's it's definitely the route that they need to go. But filling your head with lots of general information rather than isolated knowledge, there's no arguing there's an opportunity cost to that. I'll give an example. I pulled my first son out at 14, but I pulled my second son out at 13, okay? And as soon as he came out of school, we realized that he was very, very interested in video production, video editing. He really loved it. He took it, ran with it. He went off his own back to kind of learn Adobe Premiere Pro and all the After Effects and Photoshop and all the rest of it. And that was a natural, guided kind of, that's what he wanted to do, right? Over the last year, he's really mastering Premiere Pro to now where he's 14, he's now being paid. And he's not only being paid, he's also being offered anything from £1,000 to £5,000 per month per paying client to do their video editing, animations, and TikTok videos, right? And he loves it. Most importantly, he absolutely loves it. Now, had he spent 6.5 hours per day at school every day, he wouldn't have learnt that as quick. And if he was to be there for another 2 years until these friends do their GCSEs, he wouldn't, he probably would just about be there in a couple of years. So the opportunity cost is whatever he's going to learn and develop as a human and grow and earn in money from now until those 2 years pass. And that is what I mean by isolated focus and doing stuff that you enjoy and love, right? The other thing that I mentioned was certification. So school teaches you that you need certification to succeed. Basically, they come up with a grading system, which they made up, and they tell you that you must get this grade to get this kind of job and this kind of income bracket. And you leave school thinking, like I know some of my eldest son's friend who lives in Canada, he actually believes that is like you are limited to an income, and if you don't do well in your exam, he makes himself sick. He's sick, right, with nerves and all that anxiety over passing an exam because he believes that that's what's going to be his ticket to an 80 grand lifestyle or a 100 grand lifestyle maybe one day if he works his way up into a corporation, okay? And that is literally what people believe, and school puts that onto you. And parents put that onto you if they believe that as well, which is quite frightening. Now, when was the last time that you employed someone or paid for services based on certification, right? Now, yes, of course, if you're doing a heart surgery or you're, maybe an electrical engineer or something like that where you need a qualification and you need to have gone through an auditing process and a vetting process and you need the standards high, then yeah, you're going to need that, right? But if you want some great photos or video editing done, you're going to look online on YouTube, Instagram, see the best, like the perfect product that you want, the result that you want, and then you're going to go and find that person and pay them whatever they ask for because you just want that result. You don't care if they went to photo school or video school or makeup school or hair school or, you know, whatever it might be. You just want that result. I know I do. I just want, right, can you do that? That looks amazing. Just replicate that for me, and that's what I want. And you get paid for your results, not your certification. So that's another reason that, you know, I disagree with school setting you up for today's life in the world today. The other thing is you get told off for copying, right? You get told off for copying when we all know that the key to success is copy someone who's doing something that works, model it, right? And don't reinvent the wheel. That is literally the key to success. But the biggest one is delegation. So when I was at school, I got this kid called Thomas to do my French homework because I didn't want to do French homework. I had no interest in learning French. I could just barely speak my own language fluently, right? But I definitely didn't want to learn French. So, Thomas, you do it, right? You're better than me at that. You do my homework. The teacher found out I spent all day outside the headmaster's office, and great, right? You're punished for finding people that are better than you, delegating and having the influence to delegate that to them and get them to buy in, right? This wasn't bullying or anything like that. I influenced the guy and made him see why it was beneficial to him if he did my homework, and he did it. Now, you get punished for that at school, but when you leave school, you realise that that's the absolute essential skill to master. In fact, you can't become financially free if you don't master that skill. If you don't learn delegation and focus on doing more of the stuff you love, you'll never be free because that's what you're moving towards. That's what you're supposed to be moving towards, right? So it punishes you for that. What good's that? It's not good. It's not good at all. Let me know in the comments as well what you think about some of these things, right? But that's the reason most businesses fail, by the way. You know, most businesses fail because they try and do everything themselves. They become a bottleneck and they end up imploding, burning out. You know, they can't manage it all. So they just burn out, right? So the parents that are now so intrigued with what I'm doing with my kids and they're like, well, how's it getting on? How's it getting on? My question is, why? There's a series of questions, right? Do you believe in school yourself? And do you believe there's benefits to school, right? Of course there's benefits. But do you believe in the schooling system? If the answer is no, the next question is, does your kid like school? And if the answer is no, then the question is, does your kid want to go to school, right? And that might seem obvious, but some kids don't like their home life, so they prefer going to school. Not that they like it, but it's better than their home life. If the answer is no, then do you still send them to school? And if the answer is yes, then the question is why? Why are you sending them to school? Because now it's not pointing at them, and it's not pointing at anyone else or the schooling system or the law, because it's not legal. It's not illegal to take your kids out of school. In fact, they just rang us up and said, do you need any help when you take your son out of school? No, thanks. Okay, see you later. Put the phone down. That was it for both of them, right? So you then need to start asking yourself some questions, right? Because now it turns on your parenting and what you owe to your kids. Because if you don't believe in the school system, now you've got to look at yourself. And what are you doing for your kid if you really don't believe in it? Yeah? So the reasons, of course, there's many reasons why people don't pull their kids out of school. One, they have to go and earn some money, okay? So what they're doing is they're using the school as a daycare centre rather than a school. It's just somewhere where the kids can be looked after in the day so that they can go to school and do their job to pay for the family, right? Which is partly one of the reasons that I teach what I teach. You need to be free. You need to be able to choose to not have to go and work, or, you know, or you need to be mobile and nimble and be able to look after your kids wherever you want, whenever you want, right? The second reason is they just prefer going to work than being with their kids, which, you know, some people just do that. They love, oh God, I've got to get away from my kids. I'd rather go to work. You know, they don't want to be with their kids. They want to go to work. And I know people get shook up when I say things like this. Sometimes I do it for shock factor, but it's true, you know, and it's fine. If you don't like your kids, that's fine. You haven't got to like your kids. A lot of people, another should, right? Societal, you should love your kids. You should put them before everything. Well, no, that's not realistic. And then the other reason is that they don't think that their kids are going to do well out of school. So this is a bit of a cop-out. You know, this is where I think it's lazy parenting, because it's down to you. Like, they didn't choose to be born. You decided to do some things, and the baby was born, and now you've got to, like, support them. You've got to, right? It's law that you've got to now support that child, and you at least owe them some support in figuring out how they can develop a life that inspires them, right? So it's easy to just go, oh yeah, but they'll just sit on their game, on their iPad, on their phone, they'll still be lazy, they'll do nothing, they'll sleep in all day, they'll do this, that, and that. Well, that's your job. Like, that's where the line is, you, right? So this kind of funnel comes down to you actually going, oh, I've actually got to do some work to really help my kids live their own inspired life, right? So the job isn't to, like, let them off school and then go, oh, I hope they really just find something they like, I hope they do it. You have to put in a lot of work. And the work is really just like flicking through the photo album of their life, trying to figure out all of the patterns of the things that they've gravitated towards throughout their life, and then guide them around those areas until they pick up something and they're like, I love this. Again, you're going to have to be able to support them through that, right? So I love this. And then as soon as they love something, you go, right, okay, what technical skills can we learn there? What creative skills can we learn there? How can we build a partnership there? How can we get open opportunities there? What plans and goals can we put together in that area? You know, how does that align with you as a person? And, you know, sometimes you find, you know, nah, it was a bit of a fantasy, maybe it's something else I want to do. And you guide them until you kind of get them down this funnel and you find something that just energizes them, loves them. And that takes a lot of work. And then you've got to be there to get work ethic, build work ethic, not lazy. No, you don't have the phones and you don't have the computer games all the time. And, you know, when you do it this way, right, you find that actually they don't want a computer game or the phone because you're guiding them towards what they do want to do, right? So if you was to pull them out of school and, right, go, we're going to do this now, and you just got to do an hour of maths a day, they still won't do the hour of maths a day. Even though you've reduced it down from 6 hours to 1 hour, they still won't do it. They'll still be on their phone. That's because you're not guiding them to where they want to be, right? So my kids haven't had it easy at all. Like, every time they get a bit fluffy or they're like, I'm like, right, okay, you don't like that anymore, but you did like this, and this is in the same kind of field, but maybe take this angle, that angle, and I'm on it, right? They're on it. I'm building work ethic with them. I'm building skills. And that takes a lot of work. But what I will say is, you know, if you are going to take your kids out of school, it's kind of on you as much as them, depending on how old they are. A lot of people say, well, school, okay, it's great for social and character development and all the rest of it. Well, your character's developed by 7 years old. Okay, so if your kids are older than, they're probably not going to want to come out of school before 7. After 7, their character's fully developed, okay? And I know there's self-development, self-improvement, all that kind of stuff, but the core of their character is embedded. Their beliefs is all embedded by 7 years old. So there's better ways of getting them around networks, communication groups, you know, actual friends, people that are like-minded, rather than chucking them in a school with a pecking order where they get bullied and all that kind of stuff. Yes, there's benefits to bullying, but, you know, there's different ways, there's different angles that you can take. So that's not an excuse, in my opinion. So that's kind of my take on it, right? So my question would be, if you do really want to pull your kids out of school, you know, make sure that you are going to be able to support them. Be able to guide them, be able to understand how to get them in line with, you know, being who they want to be, understanding their own purpose, their own mission in life. And everyone's got that, you know, everyone's got that already there. So you can easily, as I said, flick through the photo album of their life, and there'll be a few things that they always gravitate towards, and start there, right? And then you've got to put in the work of not allowing them to like go off track. And that's, you know, people might think, well, cool, you can't win. You know, people say, well, that's a bit regimented. You're a bit, you know, at the end of the day, it's either go to school and have all those opportunity costs and come out of school doing something you hate and then and the reason I say this is because I've worked with so many people who get to 35 years old and want to reverse engineer their life to go back and do something that they wish they'd done after school. So if you do want to pull your kids out of school, give that a thought. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking now or your points of view. I'm going to read through some of these comments as well. And yeah, let me know. And let me know what you thought of this show. I thought I'd give you an update. And until next time, take care. Have a great rest of your day and weekend. And I'll see you then.